The Indian Removal Act was passed by Congress on May 28, 1830, during the presidency of Andrew Jackson. The law authorized the president to negotiate with Indian tribes in the southern United States for their removal to federal territory west of the Mississippi River in exchange for their ancestral homelands. President Andrew Jackson, the seventh President of the United States on May 28 of 1830, signed into law the Indian Removal Act. Chiefs of the 5 civilized tribes signed the Treaty of Dancing Rabbit Creek, ratified by the United States Senate on February 24th of 1831. Choctaw Indians not removing were referred to as the Mississippi Choctaw. My obsession about learning more of my ancestry began at the end of March 2005. I somehow sensed I just had to call my father's stepdaughter, Mamie Diggs, in Kansas. I had not seen Mamie since my last visit with my father in Kansas in the summer of 1962, just before I entered the 12th grade. For some unknown reason to me at that time, I felt I had to phone her, and got the phone number from my half-brother, Merle Wise, her brother, who was still living there in Kansas. Mamie and I corresponded over the phone for a few weeks. We were trying to catch up on over 40 years of what had happened in our lives since we last saw each other. One day, one of our phone conversations went from Mamie asking me how I had been since our last phone conversation to her wanting to know more information about her Indian grandmother. Her grandmother was Cherokee. She desperately wanted to find out where her grandmother, whose name was also Mamie but was spelled differently than hers, was married, and where she could find more information on getting her birth and death certificates. With our phone conversation that day, I said to Mamie I happened to have an Indian great-grandmother on my mother's side. She asked me if I knew what tribe of Indians that my great-grandmother came from. Oblivious of not knowing some of these things, I phoned my mother to find out about my Indian side. I asked her if she knew the name of the tribe of Indians with whom our family line was associated. To my astonishment, when I asked her about my great-grandmother Clara Himes, stated on my Indian side, she didn't know. It would be my next phone call after talking to my mother that would give that answer about her grandmother to me. Her brother, Robert Slade, still living in Fresno, California, was able to tell me the name of the tribe of Indians with whom we were associated. He told me we were from the Choctaw tribe of Indians, also known as the 5 civilized tribes of the United States. I had never heard anything about Choctaw Indians before in my family, after being around them all of my life. Repeating the name of Choctaw over the phone, I had to ask my Uncle Robert if he would spell it for me. I felt so dumbfounded. This was the name of an Indian tribe never even whispered in my presence. With my great-grandmother's picture and the tribal name of Choctaw, I suddenly realized I had never felt the need to ask anything about her or anyone else who came before me until that moment. A moment in time that, with what I discovered later on, was so precise and so perfect. I would later understand why this valuable piece of information would be understood regarding the research I had engaged myself in. Are you a Himes?